Whenever we talk about saddle fit to the person, it's you gotta, I guess the best way to figure it is to talk about fit for men and women. And just a rule of thumb, whenever you're trying to fit a seat for a man, it'll be lower and flatter and wider for the man, and then for a lady, it'll be higher and narrower. But then the same thing holds true if you take a man that weighs 250 pounds, real big boned, his needs to be flatter and wider than a guy that weighs 110 and pretty chicken boned, and his will need to be a little higher and narrower. So, and then of course a lot of that is personal preference. That's just a rule of thumb. But then the other thing that you have to take into consideration with that ground seat is your discipline. What are you doing? Are you punching cows or are you riding cutting horses? And if you're riding cutting horses, of course the seat's going to be flatter so that you can push and move around in there like you want. If you're riding a reining horse or a barrel horse or whatever, you got to take all that into consideration. And a good saddle maker ought to be able to help you with some of that. The seat length, most people, well, almost everybody, measures a seat from here to here, from the base of the horn to the back of the swells to the inside of the cantle. And that's what the seat length is. But where a saddle fits you is what we call the seat jockey measurement, from the back of the seat to where the cantle joins on. And that's where a saddle fits you. If this saddle's 16 inches long, if this cantle came around and joined on right there, it'd take a real little bitty guy to ride it, even though it's got a 16-inch seat. Or I could take one with a 15-inch seat and run the cantle straight, put a spade or shovel cantle in it, and a 250-pound guy could ride a 15-inch seat then. So all of these things are important, the way they tie on and tie in and work together there. You also want to decide on your swells what style of swells you want. That's personal preference. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself. And then the width that you want them. If you riding a lot of young horses, and you may want a wider swell that sets up a little higher, might make you feel a little more comfortable riding a bunch of young horses. If you're roping, you probably don't want that. You probably want a smaller swell. And then on your cantle, the same way. If you're punching cows for a living, it makes a difference if you're doing it in the panhandle of Texas or in the mountains of Montana. If you're going to be going up a mountain or down a mountain, you want to have good swells in front of you and a good cantle behind you, because you're either going up or down. In the panhandle or Kansas, it's all flat. That's not that big a deal up there. Again, if you're ordering from a custom saddle maker, he should be able to help you with all these things, with all the measurements on the top side of it. Just don't try and tell him the measurements on the underneath side. But on the top, that's all personal preference, and he should be able to help you and get you a good saddle that'll feel good to you, fit your horse well, and be a pleasure to ride for years to come.